Welcome to Yoga for a New Year. My hope is that this weekly practice eases you into 2022 and leaves you feeling centered and grounded and able to handle anything that comes our way this year. Today's practice, we're going to start on our back. We're going to come onto the floor. As you come onto your back, roll the shoulder blades down. Take a moment to get settled. You can keep the feet hip distance or walk the feet a little wider and drop the knees towards each other. That may release some tension on the low back if you're feeling any today. We're just going to take a moment to connect with our breath. So without controlling the breath, just notice it just as it is. You may notice that the breath is short. Maybe we were already breathing deeply. Just creating awareness. And then we'll gradually begin to lengthen our inhale and exhale with a 3-part breath. So you can place one hand onto your belly, maybe one near your heart. And as you take your next inhale, notice your belly rise as your diaphragm expands. Noticing the chest rise, filling up our throat. And then exhaling, letting all the air out of the body. Maybe pausing at the bottom of that exhale. And just continue to take this deep breathing at a pace that feels good to you. And as we move through our practice today, allow yourself to let go of expectation. Continue to listen to your body, moving in a way that feels good. Choosing to skip any poses that don't serve us today. And we'll separate the knees, bring our arms out to a T. Our feet are a little wider than our hips. We're going to take windshield wipers. Inhaling, we'll drop our knees to one side. Exhaling slowly over to the other side, rocking from one edge of the foot to the other. Loosening up through the low back, the hips. As we take the knees back center, we'll hug the knees into our chest, gently rocking side to side. And then we're going to drop the knees over to the side. We're going to come on to all fours, lining our knees under our hips, our wrists under our shoulders, spreading our fingers wide. This is where you may want to place a blanket under the knees if the floor is feeling extra hard today. We're going to flow through cat and cow pose. So your cat pose, you're going to round your spine, drop your tail, drop your head. We're breathing out, letting all of the air out of the body. And as we take our next inhale, we're going to lift our chest, lift our tailbone, letting our belly hammock towards the mat. And then we'll start to connect our movement with our breath. Exhaling to cat, inhaling to cow. Return to a neutral spine, and we're going to make our way to child's pose. So for child's pose, you can keep the knees hip distance, or you can take the knees a little bit wider, let the big toes touch, and then sink your hips back towards your heels. So take a moment and play with the leg position. See what feels good today. Let your forehead rest to the mat. If it hurts to come down low enough to place your forehead on the floor, you can always place a pillow here. We're going to take 3 deep breaths here. then from our child's pose, we're gonna walk our hands over to the right, just enough to begin to feel a stretch through the left side body. We'll sink back into the left hip. And if possible, go ahead and rest the head either to your arm or to the floor so that we're not tensing up the neck. We'll take another deep inhale on the left side here. And walk our hands over to the left, finding that stretch to the right side, sinking back into the right hip, resting our head to the arm or floor. One more inhale here. And then exhaling, we'll walk our hands back center. We're gonna come back to all fours, and then we're gonna walk our way out to a kneeling plank and lower down into Sphinx position. So we're coming down to our belly and onto our forearms. And as we come into this position, we may feel ourselves sinking down into our shoulders. We should roll the shoulders back and down and lift the chest. And then we want length in the back of our neck, so we're looking past our fingertips. And just allow yourself to come back to your breath. We are getting into a back bend here. If your lower back's feeling a little too tender, you come out of the pose. One more inhale here. And we're gonna lower towards the floor and bring our hands underneath our shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. And when we pick ourselves up off the mat, I'm gonna pick our belly button up first, engaging our core, and then push the floor away. And then we'll make our way all the way back to child's pose. And from child's pose, we're going to bring ourselves up seated, untuck our feet, bring our legs out in front. We're going to take the legs out straight and flex our feet and find a tall spine. And if this doesn't feel comfortable, you're not alone. This is definitely pulling on some muscles that get very tight through the back of the legs, the low back. So just try your best to find that tall spine. Notice your sit bones find the floor. And then just walking our fingertips forward. Don't worry about how far you go. Listen to how your body feels. We're keeping the chest lifted. Think of leading with your heart. And as you come forward, you may start to feel the back of the legs firing. As they begin to stretch, we'll take a breath here. And then your choice here. You can stay here if this is feeling really good. If you want to relax more into a forward fold over the legs, we're going to maybe walk the hands a little further, round and release the upper back. Take 2 more deep breaths here. We'll come back tall. We'll draw the right knee into our chest, breathing in, lengthening our spine. And breathing out, we're going to take a twist to the right. So we're going to bring our left hand to the outside of our leg. We're going to bring our right fingertips behind us. And don't want to just focus on looking back. It's not how far you can look back. You want to instead think of twisting with your core. So gently engage through the belly button and then start to twist through the core. And then last, just turn the head to look back. We don't want to feel any strain in the neck, so really you can look in any direction that feels best today. We're going to take one more deep inhale here. Then exhaling, we'll unwind our twist. We'll take the right leg straight, draw the left knee in, breathing in, finding a tall spine. Breathing out, we're going to take a twist to the left. Find that twist through the core, and then gently look back. One more deep breath here. And we're going to unwind our twist. We're going to scoop forward. And we're going to lower onto our back. So if the back's feeling tender, come down to the floor any way that feels good. And if you're a little challenged for the core, you're going to let go, reach the arms out, scoop the belly button in around the spine, and try to slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. And we'll return to knees to chest. We're going to take our legs straight up. Hands can be by your side or under your hips. This is legs up the imaginary wall. We're going to flex and point our toes. Really reflexing and pointing our feet. Then we'll circle our ankles in one direction and then the other. If you have a spot where you can get close to the wall in this position, legs with an actual wall can be very relaxing. It's a pose that's often suggested if you can't sleep at night. It's not always practical to send your legs up the wall. We'll drop our knees towards our shoulders, and we're coming into happy baby. This may feel like enough of a stretch here, or you're gonna reach up towards your ankles, maybe open a little wider, or we can grab the outer edge of our feet. If you're feeling good in this stretch, I'm going to add a sway. We can rock side to side. We're going to release our feet to the floor. This is the next pose or stretch. It's really great for your hips. We're going to do a figure four. So you're going to bring your right ankle in front of your left knee. You may already begin to feel a stretch here. You can stay right there, or start to draw the left knee in towards your chest. Allow the shoulders to drop. If you are near some furniture, you can also rest this left foot onto the furniture and let your arms relax by your side. We'll take one more deep breath here. Then releasing, uncrossing, we'll take the left ankle in front of the right knee, drawing our right knee towards our chest. And then we'll release, uncross. We'll see how butterfly feels today. We'll drop the knees out to the side, soles of the feet together, palms up. This is another pose where you can add some support if this isn't feeling so great. So you can bring rolled up blankets or couch cushions underneath your legs and they can rest. If this is feeling good, we'll stay here for 2 more breaths. And we'll draw the knees together. We're going to stack our knees over our hips, arms up to a T, and then drop our knees over to the left. Trying to keep the right shoulder towards the mat. It may lift, I know mine's lifting, but as much as we can, trying to keep that twist. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And on our next exhale, we'll engage the core to lift the legs up off the floor, take them up and over to the other side. And we can either look towards the ceiling or turn our head to the left. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. As we take our next exhale, we'll slowly bring the knees back center, hug the knees into our chest. And then we'll set the feet to the floor. And we're going to take our final relaxation here. So we can either keep the knees bent, we can come back to that first position with the legs wide and the knees resting together, or we can take our legs out straight. So just take a moment to get into a settled position. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you here long. I promise you've got a minute or 2 to spend with me doing nothing. So as we come into this position, today we're going to scan ourselves from head to toe, noticing if we're just holding on to any tension. Think of softening your forehead. Allow your eyes to drop to the back of your head, unclenching the jaw, letting your tongue drop, relaxing the shoulders. Let your arms be heavy, relax the fingers. Taking a deep inhale, notice the rib cage rise. And as you exhale, let every rib bone go. Allow your belly to soften. Let the hip sockets relax and release. Imagine the muscles of your thighs letting go of the bone. Let the kneecaps drop. Relaxing our calf muscles. And just begin to notice your breath as it takes its natural pace. Giving yourself permission to rest. We'll wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, bring our awareness back into the room. We'll reach our arms overhead, stretching out from head to toe. And then bending our knees. We'll turn to one side, leaving our corpse pose, turning over to newborn baby. Fresh start for a new year and a fresh start we can always return to. We'll press ourselves up seated, and I'm going to come up cross-legged, but you can sit any way that feels comfortable. Try to make our spine nice and tall. Hopefully we're feeling a little less tension. As we take our next inhale, we'll take a big stretch, sweeping the arms up towards the sky. We can bring our hands to heart center as we take our exhale. Thank you so much for joining me for yoga for a new year. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday.